Hey, Tim, good to see you. How's your day been today?
Same as yours, I should imagine, flat out.
Flat out.
I always like to joke with people and say this is my first pandemic and I just don't know what I'm doing. So it is a crazy time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's everybody's first pandemic. It's certainly the steepest learning curve I've been on for a really long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we know that the National Cabinet are meeting tomorrow again, and we also know that we're getting close to a proposal for commercial tenants. Can you talk to me about what that contains?
Well, as you said, they're meeting tomorrow, so I guess we haven't got anything concrete at this stage. Yeah. There's plenty of talk on the streets about what it might look like, and they're talking about obviously the moratorium on evicting people, but to the extent where that's going to go, again, maybe we'll know some more tomorrow. Interestingly, what's come into the narrative is a discussion in relation to land tax, and as you know, that's something we've been pushing on. So in a couple of the things I've read, and I think it's more about people's opinions rather than anything concrete for all the reasons we just said, but there is a suggestion there that the government might be looking to provide some assistance with land tax. And frankly, if they don't do something like that, the state government in this space, it is unconscionable in my view.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hearing a lot more about the commercial package and not so much about the residential package. How about you?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on who you listen to, but yeah, certainly in some quarters today in particular, I've heard a lot more about the commercial world, and I think the reason they're focusing on that is so many small businesses and the like. I also think that all of a sudden the policymakers have discovered that commercial is not just Stocklands and Westfield and this sort of stuff, that there is actually a great big commercial market that isn't this faceless creature that's got megabucks. You know, there is this mum and dad investors in the commercial world, and for that reason, I think there is now starting to become a different focus on the issues and maybe a lot more balanced focus.
Yeah, which is great. That's something that we've been pushing really hard as well, to make the government realise that there are just as many mum and dad commercial investors as there are in the resi space. So it's a very important distinction between those big institutional landlords and the other mums and dads.
So I have something on the residential space, although it's not in our space, but it always kind of concerns me when I hear about it. But in another state, as you know, they did have a position where you couldn't evict the tenant when you sold the property, and as you know, that sent a shockwave straight through our
massive.
Yeah. Well, I have heard that particular state now is going to allow tenants to be evicted if the contract was entered into before, I think it's the 3rd of March. However, before we get excited, anything after the 3rd of March, it's still no.
Wow, because this didn't really all hit until about the 23rd of March, same day as the reforms. So yeah, that's about nearly 3 weeks difference.
So down in that state, when they sell a property now, you'll have to sell it on the basis that if there's a tenant, you'll have to accept that as part of the purchase.
Yeah, okay.
So that is going to disrupt, obviously, transactions where people are looking to buy property and move in themselves. So that's going to put additional pressure on that. So we couldn't have made our position any clearer, Leanne, and
totally.
And I were there with fair trading, and I'm certainly hoping that they have listened to that. And another, a little bit more scuttlebutt from over the borders, down in Victoria, the police are not serving evictions anymore down there because it is not safe to go and serve evictions.
Right, interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, okay.
That gets on more broadly in the police work, but anyway.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get more of an update after the National Cabinet on the residential, but I think at best we can hope for is maybe a time frame as to when that's going to come out. I'm not sure that we're going to really get all of the information after that meeting. What do you think?
No, I think it's unlikely. But we're playing a game without the rules. So at this stage, we're hoping the rules are going to going to be sensible rules, and we're hoping to get the rules for a
Yeah.
long off.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a practical perspective, the JobKeeper allowance is something that all of our business owners should be applying for.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no harm in just applying. So, and when I say applying, I think the better word is registering.
Yeah,
So
okay. Yeah,
register some interest. So all you've done then is to say to the ATO, I'm interested in being kept informed about it. So I mean, don't look at your business and say, oh, I'm not going to qualify for the 30% and these sorts of things. I think far better to say, yes, I'm interested, so I'm registering my interest, but everybody should do it. Everybody should do it.
Yeah, because they're also saying that you can forward project your June quarter if you don't, because most of us wouldn't qualify this, in the current quarter, as we've said before. So if we can forward forecast our June quarter, maybe there'll be more opportunity then. So yeah.
I think that's right, because I don't know about you, but in January and February, the world was great. We were, the auction clearance rates were at 80-something%.
Massive.
Everything looked rosy. And it's just crashed in remarkable speed. So I don't know that we're going to see the sort of 30% downturn coming through in the numbers, not for a couple of weeks, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really interesting to see those auction numbers. I think they're going to fall dramatically.
Yeah.
So we're in an environment where negotiation is something our property managers probably haven't been forced to negotiate as much as our salespeople, but things have changed, right?
Yeah, very much so. So I'd be whether it's in commercial or in residential, I'd be honing up on my negotiation skills, because I certainly think that every tenancy is likely to have a negotiation coming with it now. Those people who are finding themselves in difficulties, and the opportunists as well, we've seen a number of them stepping forward already. Sure. So I think there is going to be a lot of negotiations that are going to take place over the next months. So our property managers are going to be very, very busy.
They sure are. Maybe we can get some negotiation skills training happening online for everybody. What do you think?
Absolutely.
And so I was talking to one of my agents earlier today, and he's like, "Oh, Lee, this is actually, not as bad as I thought it might be. It's just back to basics. It's calling people on the phone. It's having conversations. It's doing buyer appointments. It's kind of back to the 80s, but that's not all bad, right?"
No, there's nothing wrong with the 80s. I've still got my acid wash jeans. So
I don't need to see those.
But look, and I think that's right. We can't change our environment. That's beyond all of our control. We're stuck with this COVID-19. That's life. Accept it. But what we can change is how that we deal with it. Now, if we continue doing the things the way we were doing them in January and February when we spoke about it, that is not going to respond to where we're at now. We need to reinvent ourselves and come out into the market with something that responds and accommodates where we're at now. We have to do that. That is the only play we can make.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's probably a really good place to finish our update for today. So I will look forward to seeing where we are up to at the same time tomorrow. Take care.
You too. Stay safe.
I will. Bye.